Welcome into Discern. Today is Thursday, December 9th. I'm Ross, and I'm joined once again by Mark Turman, who's filling in for Jim. How you doing, Mark?
Doing good, Ross. Glad to get to be with you today and get to talk about the news a little bit.
That's right. Mark's going to be with us while Jim is out and through the rest of this week. So it's Thursday. On Tuesday, we had the anniversary of Pearl Harbor, which is something we wanted to circle back around to. We had some good, obviously, coverage of that anniversary. It's the 80th anniversary. And there was a lot of great commentary from veterans. And so wanted to read some of that and just have a dialogue with you a bit about unity. It'll be kind of our topic for today. So this is from Fox News. As the nation marks the 80th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attack against America by Japan on December 7th, veterans around the country shared their thoughts and insights, noting the significance of the event all these decades later. Brian Huffling, an Air Force and Marine veteran, told Fox News Digital, "The 80th anniversary of Pearl Harbor is a reminder of not only the attack on the U.S., but also the resolve and dedication of the American people. It was this greatest generation that fought for democracy and freedom, and still inspires us today to fight for those same ideals." One New York-based veteran told Fox News Digital, "What happened after Pearl Harbor shows that when we stand together, we cannot be beat. And if we don't unite today, we will certainly fall." Mark, this concept of unity is one that we've talked about a bit on Discern, and I want to get to that. One thing that I do want to just pause and acknowledge, again, the thankfulness for our veterans in serving. I remember, there was a Pearl Harbor film that came out when I was growing up, which served to show some of what that could have been like and the sacrifice that was made during that attack. And also Saving Private Ryan ended up being a really influential film for me. Not ever been in combat, not understanding the sacrifice of what we call the greatest generation. And so this is always an opportunity to just appreciate those that have gone before us to defend freedom around the world. And I think these veterans are kind of calling out this reality that these conflicts brought a certain unity in the country. And I think we would look around us today and say, this does not feel like a united country here in 2021. Can you speak to that some?
We talk about this political spectrum of being left, right, and center, but it's even much more diverse than that. Many still think that there's this silent majority in the middle that may be starting to exercise its voice and its influence a little bit more, but we're certainly fractured in so many ways, and the proliferation of technology, the proliferation of journalism in the way that it's done these days, it just seems like on social media as well as major media outlets that there's just opinions everywhere and very little unity in any category, and that's including in the church oftentimes, that even Christians are having a difficult time finding unity among themselves.
Yeah, if I think about, like a smaller example of working through differences in opinion, it just always feels like even to take a family unit or friends or even within a company, there's usually not an option to just argue both sides kind of into a vacuum where there's no actual conversation. And one of the things that has been discouraging that I've seen, especially in the political debates, is I want to understand both viewpoints on how we can solve this problem together. But the debates have not provided that for me. And so even when there's an issue I don't even fully understand, like how should we do spending in a certain category, I actually want the debate. I crave that, but I can't seem to get clarity on who thinks what because they're bringing so many agendas into their talk for that day. And I feel like they just have their pre-assigned points that they've got to get out, but I'm not seeing a conversation.
It just seems like the main thing that comes out in most of the debates is can you speak, can you communicate in a clearer way than the other people on the stage? Can you get your talking point out, whether you're on that topic of the question or not? And can you get a zinger in? Can you come up with a phrase in such a way that kind of makes you look smart and wise and witty and leaves the other people kind of in the dust when it comes to some of these really big, complicated issues?
Yeah, and the people that I follow or that I pay attention to, even on both sides, I mean, like I follow our president. I think I want to know what our president is saying. So I want to pay attention. But so much of and the president really isn't in a position to do this as much because he's in his spot. But if someone disagrees with the viewpoint, they're really just attacking the other party. But I can't really get to the meat of what the issue is they're concerned about. I just see a lot of, in the social feeds, it's just like, oh, they've gone and done it again. It's like, okay, but tell me what about that is problematic. And that's one of the things that I hope we can continue to do on this show is we can take a look at some of these issues. And again, we're not looking for a political stance. We're looking for the problem-solving approach and what are the potential solutions to the problem? And then what does the Bible say about how to solve that problem? I think, for our audience, it probably makes sense here to pivot to, okay, so we don't have a united America in all ways,
right,
but what can we do?
Yeah. And, the truth of it is that we've never had a unity that cut across all sectors. We're a big country with more than 330 million people and a large landmass. And so as we've gotten older and gotten larger as a nation, unity, at least the way we kind of commonly think about it, is always an elusive kind of thing. And America has always been set up, I think, along the idea of majority rule with respect for minority views and opinions. And we want to have regard for the individual while we also understand the will of the majority and the democratic process. It's always been the case and is even more the case now that we are a bigger nation covering a lot of territory. But how we get there seems to be something that we're struggling with, where if somebody doesn't agree with me, then I have to try to position them as not just simply being wrong, but they need to be considered evil by other people and somebody that needs to be removed from the conversation in one way or another. So it seems to be that our style of disagreement has become very combative and very much a demonizing of the other person or the other opinion, no matter what they say, no matter what position they may hold. And that makes it very difficult to try to find a solution to the problem that we're trying to solve.
Yeah, and I think a clear application that Jim has talked about before is what is the best way for us to bring love into how we resolve these things is for believers who know the perfect example of love to be in the system. So an encouragement to run for public office, an encouragement to, I know many believers who joined the military with the same inspiration that those did right after Pearl Harbor. There are still heroes today. There's heroes serving us right now, protecting this country, every single one of them. But there's kids leaving high school and entering the military. And so the more of us that are in that system, the more likely we are to be able to influence the style and the debate and the culture of our political debates and the way that we resolve and solve problems together.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is personal for me. I just finished having some family gatherings where I got to be with two of my nephews who are active Army soldiers today. And both of them have been deployed overseas and could be deployed again at any time. And so, we're very grateful for that, very grateful in our family for these two young men that have been serving for a number of years already in the Army, and for others that serve alongside them. And I think you're right. We saw that certainly in the days after 9/11, where many people, I had people in my church that were motivated to enter into military service because of a desire to help our country and to keep our country safe. First responders oftentimes have the same kind of motivations to try to serve and to help and to protect. And we always have to be grateful for that and thankful for people willing to step into that and to find ways to be united around them. I think that's one of the great things that we're seeing these days is that we may not agree with why we are in a particular conflict or why we're taking a particular action, but I think our country does much more unite around supporting those in the military, those that are first responders, who are simply trying to do what they've been asked to do, even if they weren't the ones making the decisions at the top. And I think that's a healthy thing.
And I think we can end there, Mark. I think that, building unity is hard, but there's just very, very few things that are great or worthwhile that aren't hard. And so I think that, if we respond to our call as believers and if we are obedient to our individual callings, sometimes that's going to ask us to do hard things. And sometimes that's going to be what it takes to build that kind of unity. And so I think we'll end there. Look forward to continue to unpack this with you in future weeks. And I'm sure we'll visit this again in episodes down the line. But that's all we have for the show today. We will be right back here tomorrow on Discern.